The 628th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMA SGPN to claim your first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's college football and NFL picks and projections are now live. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Howdy ho, DeGenerinos. Welcome to episode 628 of the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. This one sent out to Ray555, who likes that we put out videos before the odds drop. Well, thank you. Some people don't like that. Other people have found that it can be very advantageous. So thank you, Ray555 on YouTube. Thank you, everyone who has subscribed to the MMA Gambling Podcast on YouTube as we make our march toward 1,000 subscribers. I am one of the hosts, not surprisingly, the bearded one, Jeff Chalks Fox. We do have odds for this year event. No worries for this one. This is UFC fight night at the Apex. So we know we're going to have a stellar main event that we're going to talk about today. Let's bring in my co-host who's helping me power through all these episodes. If you want to know, Daniel Gumby Vreeland.
Yeah, this is so now that we're on the main card, because those prelims, let's face it, touch questionable.
Great episode though. It was a really good episode.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
We sure did.
we're gonna make money, which is also fun. At least like fun stylistic matchups on this one, right? Yeah. Even if some of these late replacement wins are not like quite ready for who they're fighting yet, and hey, maybe some of them are. You'll have to listen in and see if we pick any of the late replacements. Jeff never does, but you never know if I will. But like, even if they're not ready for the step up, they're like fun stylistic matchups for the step up guy. And then you got, Chepe Mariscal versus Damon Jackson should be absolute fireworks. Now, this main event, maybe not the most fun stylistic matchup, but the rest of them, bangers.
Yes, bangers. You want to see Damon Jackson get his hair implants knocked off his head, then the co-main event could be a banger as well. So, yeah, this card,
just like what's her face's eyelashes.
Yes, Tracy Cortez's eyelashes. People's accessories are gonna maybe that'll be the new trend. People's accessories are gonna get knocked off. Now, there's a lot of different bout orders and whatnot out here, but we're gonna cover every fight anyhow, so it really doesn't matter. If you're looking for the Gregorio Kazama fight, as most people are, that was on yesterday's episode. Some places have it listed as a main card fight. So we don't want you in the comments going, where's my Gregorio Kazama breakdown? I was waiting all week for this, but that's where it is. So, all right, before we jump into the rest of the previews, let's tell you about the Sports Gambling Podcast, the mothership. They launched their 32 NFL team previews. They're live right now, so check it out. And as a bonus, each team preview will include a code word. Submit 32 code word phrase, and you could be the lucky winner who gets a $500 NFL Circa future bet. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts in the SGPN app, and of course on YouTube. All right, what did we decide? Our order that we're going with. We're starting with the ladies' fight because one of them has the same nickname, a boring nickname that people often give me. It would be a women's bantamweight fight. Yana Santos versus Chelsea Chandler, Russia versus USA. Tell you about Chelsea Chandler first. She's 6-2, 2 knockouts, 1 submission. Never been finished in a fight. 2-1 in the UFC, 6-1 over her last 7. She did win her last fight. She's missed weight twice at bantamweight, so keep an eye on that. She went 4-1 in Invicta. Used to fight at featherweight, 2 inches taller than Santos, a year younger. You would expect her to be a lot younger, but no, just less experience. Has outstruck her opponents in the UFC by 0.36 strikes per minute. Plus 125. Foxy Santos, there's that nickname. She's 14-8 with 1 no contest, 7 knockouts, 1 submission. Been knocked out 3 times, submitted twice. 4-5 in the UFC. She's lost 3 straight. Before that, she won 2 straight. She's not fought since July of 2023. Has not won since February of 2021. Used to fight at featherweight and lightweight. 1-1 with 1 no contest in Invicta, and the champion there. A 2009 Pro MMA debut. A champion in Kempo karate. A champion in Taekwondo. A champion in Muay Thai. Better striking stats, more active landing strikes than Chandler. She's outstruck her UFC opponents by 1.13 strikes per minute, minus 138. This one's a bit of a tough one. I wish Gumby was going first, but he's not. Is this a tough one for you, Gumby?
I went back and forth a little bit on it. If I'm being honest.
I'm going back and forth right now. Like there's levels. I think Santos was as a keeper, was at a higher level than Chelsea Chandler. The question is she still having lost? I don't think she hasn't won since she came back from giving birth to her second kid. Let's go dog. If I don't know who to pick here, and Santos really has not looked good for a while now, even though, like I said, she was on a much higher level than Chandler ever was. Let's go dog. Let's take Chelsea Chandler.
See, I disagree with you. I think she looked infinitely better in her last fight. She came back from giving birth and fought Holly Holm straight out the gate, and not like this, like, washed out, tired Holly Holm that fights now. But like she fought Holly Holm in her first fight back, and she looked bad in that fight. The fight with Carol Hossa, I think, was a real turnaround for her. I mean, she only lost to Carol Hossa by split decision. To your point, when we're talking about like levels of this, we just talked on yesterday's show. Spoiler alert, if you haven't listened already. We talked about how Carol Hossa is kind of just like a level above Pani Kianzad at this point. I think any of those three women are a level above Chelsea Chandler. And for Santos to have been that close to Carol Hossa, I think it's fine. Now, obviously, the thing you got to be concerned about, and why you're seeing this line as close as it is that Chelsea Chandler can kind of be like a bully in there, right? Yeah. Like, that's her style. She gets in there, and she, that's not to say she doesn't have hands and she doesn't have technique either. Like, her jiu-jitsu is good as well. She's a Diaz trained fighter, and she puts volume out there. I just don't think her striking is as clean as Yana Santos. And I think Yana Santos gets back up enough here to kind of wear out Chelsea Chandler and make it so that bully style isn't going to be able to maintain itself for 3 full rounds. So I'm going to go with Yana Santos here. I think she outpoints her on the feet.
We'll definitely see if Santos still has the heart for it, because Chandler will, like you said, will make it a dogfight. So Santos has any quit in her. We shall find out. All right. We differed yesterday. No, I don't want to give it away if people haven't listened yet, but yeah, we differed on one fight yesterday. We differed on one fight today. Let's see where we go from now. This is a just made fight. Bantamweights, Chris Gutierrez versus Quang Lee. Lee. You've probably heard us talk about him before, but not for the UFC. He's 8-0, 2 knockouts, 3 submissions. This is a short notice debut in the UFC. He was scheduled for the Contender Series next month. So he would have been in fight camp, but he would have been prepping for about a month out from now. So he's taking this fight.
He was supposed to fight. He was supposed to fight September 17th. So it's actually a little more than a month away.
Right. He has won 2 straight fights via knockout or TKO. He's 3 inches of reach over Gutierrez, plus 270. Gutierrez, El Guapo, 25-1, 20-5-2, excuse me. So 20 wins, 5 losses, 2 draws. 9 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been submitted once. Man, it's hard to finish. 8-3-1 in the UFC. Loss over his last 3, but 5-2 over his last 7, which is a bit better. Used to fight at featherweight. He's got multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. Get sticky with it. 1-0 World Series of Fighting. 1-0 in Bellator. 2013 Pro May debut. 2 inches height over Lee. -360. A pretty hefty line here.
Yeah, I'm going Gutierrez. I'm
surprised a little bit.
I want to go on record saying I'm a big Quang Lee fan. Yeah. Like when I saw they signed him to Contender Series, I was pumped. Actually, that fight was going to be sick. He was fighting Aaron Tao, who's oh man, I'm going to mess this up. Australian or New Zealand. I want to
they'll get mad, right?
He's from down under.
That's better.
And that was going to be a sick, like, banger of a fight. But my problem here is, first of all, this is a huge ask, right? Chris Gutierrez, an absolute beast. And if you watch Quang Lee's last fight, he's coming off of a good win. He beat Tal Trang in that fight and knocked him out. Brutal left hook. But the problem for me is that Quang Lee ate a lot of leg kicks in that fight. And got touched by Tal Trang in the short amount of fight. And against Chris Gutierrez, a guy who notoriously rips the legs really well, a guy who works to the body, a guy who can catch you, that's not the type of fighter you can, like, take one to give one. And also, like, for me, when I was trying to justify taking Quang Lee, because I like him that much, and it's like a bummer to pick against him in his debut here, when I was trying to justify it, I'm like, well, he's got, one-touch knockout power. He can finish anybody. Gutierrez has been finished one time in his whole life, and it was a submission. The guy is and he's been in bangers too. Like, it's not like he hasn't been in, like, firefights, he's got a great chin. So like, it's just a terrible style matchup for Quang in his debut. You know, I think Gutierrez is just going to be too fast, too skilled on the feet. And, you know, the short training camp ain't going to help Lee either. So, yeah, give me Chris Gutierrez.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, I'm all about the short notice. I sometimes, you know, go with the guy, but this is a tough ask for a guy stepping on very, like, this is week's notice he had for this for against a guy who is impossible to stop and who's going to bring the fight to you. So, yeah, Gutierrez is the pick here. All right, before we move on, I'm going to tell you about Underdog Fantasy. We didn't go with the underdog there, but Underdog Fantasy has just launched Underdog Streaks. Hit your first 2 pick'em entries and then go streaking. If you can get an 11-0 run going, you can win 1,000 times your money. That's a lot of X's times your money. Plus, Best Ball Media is live with $15 million in prizes. And if that's all and not enough, they just added another college football contest for Best Ball. Now, Gummy's going to give you a Atlanta Braves-centric play.
No, I'm going to tell you just to take the lower than on Will Smith's total bases. I have him in fantasy right now, but I've been writing on the sportsgamblingpodcast.com every single time I get an article about Underdog Fantasy about why the under on Will Smith is so good. Because look, this guy is not ever getting to 1.5 total bases. He hasn't since July 14th. So you might as well count on him not doing it again. The lower than on Will Smith's total basis. All
right, excellent. I just got an email that said, "Hello, Riley."
I don't think that's you.
Apparently not. Hello, Riley. All right. Underdog Fantasy is for me though, for sure. So Gumby gave you a play. He's fading one of his players, but not an Atlanta Brave player, not surprisingly. So here's what you need to do: sign up with our code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And you can take some of that some of those winnings we're going to help you get off Underdog and off of our site, and you can go buy some tickets. But you don't have to spend too much because Game Time is the spot for last minute tickets, lowest price, all that good stuff. And if you're into baseball, Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even easier and faster. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. But it's not just MLB. They got UFC, they've got MMA, they got concerts, they got other sports, they got flash deals, they got zone deals. Check all that stuff out. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code SGPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem our code SGPN, aka SIGPIN, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, where are we headed to next? I always come out of the ad reads saying all right, I've realized, because I have to mark things when I edit the podcast. So anyhow, all right, it's a hand of God. That's who's coming up next. Danny Barlow versus Nikolay Veretennikov. Why am I butchering his name?
That's terrible.
Veretennikov.
No.
Veretennikov.
Nikolay Veretennikov.
Veretennikov. Nikolay Veretennikov. As I said before, this is not an act, ladies and gentlemen. He's from Kazakhstan. We're going to talk about him first. He's 12-4, 9 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. This is a short notice debut. Another one back-to-back. He's won 3 straight fights, all via finish. He's got multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct, get the shirt, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. He went 0-1 in Contender Series. Who did he lose to, Gumby?
Michael Morales.
Michael Morales. That's aged pretty well then. Used to fight at middleweight, 2012 Pro MMA debut. He was barely outstruck by Morales. He's at minus 0.06 is what his output per minute was in that fight. Got outstruck a little bit, plus 300. Barlow, left hand, number 2, God. All one word, obviously. 8-0. 5 knockouts, 1 submission, 1-0 in the UFC, 1-0 Contender Series, 4 straight wins via knockout, regional champion, 1 inch of height, 5 inches of reach, 6 years younger than his opponent here, twice more active, better grappling stats. He's outstruck his opponents by 5.15 strikes per minute, minus 350. But they are not giving any of these newcomers, they're not doing any favors this week. Obviously, Barlow is the pick here. Another, maybe not as hard of an ask as going up against Gutierrez, but yeah, this is a tough debut fight on short notice. So Barlow's got to be the pick.
And it's also a terrible style matchup because if you like go back and you look at the types of guys that Veretennikov is beating, because like he has some pretty legit wins since losing to Michael Morales. And again, losing to Michael Morales isn't a bad thing, but most of the guys he's beating like want to wrestle him. And Veretennikov is a pretty sharp striker. Like he's one of those guys with a Russian sounding last name or an Eastern Bloc sounding last name that actually does probably prefer to strike. He mixes in the takedowns, but I think he would rather the fight take place on the feet. And like notoriously struggles with range. Like that was kind of the problem in the Michael Morales fight, is he struggled with range, and it forced him to blitz in too hard. He wound up getting taken down a couple of times when he blitzed in too hard. The problem in this fight is, first of all, Danny Barlow, man, his range looks incredible for a guy with as few of fights as he has. And then I will add in there too, that like, if you rush in because you're getting frustrated with his range, he just turns your lights clean off. And that's, I mean, like kind of the MO of Veretennikov at this point is that, like, if he is fighting a rangier striker, he gets frustrated. He does kind of rush in, either looking for that clinch or looking for that takedown. And I just think Danny Barlow is going to turn his lights right off. I think Danny Barlow is one of those guys who, until we see him against the guy who is like a very high level grappler, like I think if anybody chooses to strike with this guy, they're an idiot. Because he's out there knocking clowns out. So yeah, give me Danny Barlow.
Are we liking? Have you checked the props, or am I giving something away? What's
you might be giving that one away. I might be bringing it up a little later on.
All right, well, that's good. That's something for all of you to look forward to coming up. Yeah. Sounds like a very nice matchup for Mr. Barlow. We are moving on to our next fight. Are we to the co-main event already? We are very efficient today. All right. This would be Damon Jackson versus Chepe Mariscal. It's not really Chepe though, is it?
Jose?
I think it's Jose. That's what I was. It doesn't say, but I think it's Jose.
But he goes by Chepe now.
Yeah, he goes by Chepe now.
He goes just by Chepe.
Government name Jose is true. All right. Okay. This is a bantamweight fight.
I'm really glad I was right about that for the record.
You're right. You're usually right about things. Why? You think it would make you look bad?
I think it would have made me look really racist if I decided that his name was just Jose and then it was like Mark or something like that. I would have felt real bad.
Yeah, very true. All right. Gumby is safe. Let's tell you about Action Damon Jackson. Action Jackson is 23-6-1 with 1 no contest, 4 knockouts, 15 submissions. Been knocked out 4 times, submitted once. 6-4-1 with 1 no contest in the UFC over 2 stints. 1-2 of his last 3. Did win his last fight. He went 0-1 in the PFL. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpost.com/store. Get sticky with it. Used to fight at lightweight, 2-0 in Bellator, 2012 Pro MMA debut. 4 inches height, 2 inches reach over Mariscal. Better grappling stats, not surprisingly. He has been outstruck in the UFC by 0.29 strikes per minute, plus 186. Machine Gun Chepe Mariscal is 16-6 with 1 no contest, 7 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times, 3-0 in the UFC. He's won 6 straight. He's not lost since September 2020. Used to fight at lightweight and welterweight. Regional champion, 2014 Pro MMA debut. 4 years younger than Jackson. You would expect him to be far more younger than that, but no. Better striking stats, more active landing strikes than Jackson. He's outstruck his UFC opponents by 1.02 strikes per minute, minus 210.
I'm going with Jackson.
What?
I'm going Damon Jackson. I look, I know the record doesn't look great for Damon Jackson, right? If you want to go back, it doesn't look fantastic in terms of his time in the UFC. But my God, if you go back and you look at the people he's fought, it's like, dude, it is such a good strength of schedule. I mean, like losses to Ilia Topuria, losses to Dan Ige. And like, I also know that Chepe it's not like Chepe's been bad in there, right? Like he went in there, beat Trevor Peek on short notice. And I'm not out here trying to disparage Trevor Peek's name. But like, that was mostly about like being a cleaner striker than Trevor Peek, which like, most people are cleaner strikers than Trevor Peek, right? Trevor Peek's just an agent of chaos. And like Damon Jackson brings 2 aspects to this fight. And that's not something Chepe is notoriously dealt well with. Is like, if he knows a guy's going to come in and wrestle him and he's just going to play straight defense on wrestling and box him, he does well. If he goes in there and he's going to bang and like have a technical kickboxing match and like out cardio somebody, he's better there. But like when he's faced guys in the past who have mixed their wrestling in with their boxing, Chepe struggled a little bit. I mean, like, go back and watch his fight with Steve Garcia when they were in LFA. Steve Garcia got the best of him. And like, not that Steve Garcia, again, not good. That dude's on a 4-fight winning streak with 4 knockouts. But like, I think Damon Jackson has the ability to put kind of like a veteran lesson on him with the all-around game. You know, we're talking about Damon Jackson, a guy who ground and pound TKO'd Pat Sabatini. Like that's a legit win. And I think, you know, doing that to Pat Sabatini has to beg the question, like, what could he do to Chepe if he puts Chepe on his back? Like, I think Jackson's got the sub skills. I think he's got the control and the wrestling, and he's got a little bit of hands that have just made him enough dangerous that I think Chepe's got to worry about it all.
Yep, all good points, but I'm still taking Chepe. Just the way it goes. More powerful striker, more faith in him, even though, you know, Jackson did beat a younger guy in his last fight, so which was good, but I'll go with the younger, more powerful striking guy who's on a nice run, as I normally do. Boring, but hey, them's the breaks. All right, we are to our main event already, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you couldn't wait. You probably scrubbed right through the podcast to this point. It's our heavyweight breakdown between Marcin Tybura, Serghei Spivac, part 2, ladies and gentlemen. Tybura is the nickname. Really good. 25-8, 9 knockouts, 7 submissions. He's been knocked out 5 times, 12-7 in the UFC. He's won 3 of his last 4. He won his last fight via submission. Regional champion, 2011 pro MMA debut. Better striking stats than Spivac. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 0.25 strikes per minute, plus 136. Polar Bear Spivac, 16-4, 7 knockouts, 7 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times himself. 7-4 in the UFC, 3-1 over his last 4. Lost his last fight via TKO. He did lose to Tybura back in 2020 by decision. Was regional champion, 2014 pro MMA debut. 10 years younger than Tybura. Better grappling stats, and he also, no, not also, he has been outstruck in the UFC by 0.25 strikes per minute, minus 150. So the man who won the first fight is not favored in the second. Give me Tybura, better striker, already beat Spivac. I don't really know why he's a dog, but I will gladly take him here. I like what I have more faith in him at this point.
Yeah, the crazy thing to me, too, is just like when you think about the methods that have beaten Marcin Tybura in his last 10 fights, and even if you want to like whittle it down more, but like I'm just looking at the losses in the last 10 fights. What is the method of victory that Serghei Spivac uses, right? He outgrinds people. He's a person who leans against you on the cage. He digs into your cardio. He sometimes takes you down and controls rounds there. Who the hell has ever beat Marcin Tybura by doing that? Yeah. And I'm not out here saying that like Marcin Tybura is the best in the world at like being a grinder. Like that's maybe a little bit overkill, but like nobody's beating him that way. His losses come to Alexander Volkov and Tom Aspinall, you know, guys who can, you know, knock your head off, but like he's not in there getting out grinded by somebody, you know, especially somebody like Serghei Spivac, who, you know, in their first fight, and granted it was 4 years ago, so I do want to give Spivac that opportunity to say he grew. Even Tybura did in the interview I did with him. But like Spivac might have grown, but like, do you feel like he's a different kind of striker? Do you feel like he's different at his ability to take people down, you know, markedly to the point where he's winning the kind of fight that he was losing, right? Because this isn't about changing the style of the fight. The fight is the fight. No, this is a grind. This fight will be most likely a 5-round grind fest. Maybe not the most exciting thing, but like I just can't pick against Marcin Tybura in that style of fight. He doesn't lose those styles of fights. So yeah, I'm with you on that one. I like Marcin Tybura quite a bit here, especially as that line continues to creep upward.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that have actually gone in our favor, this line. So don't really know why, but we shall take it. I'll recap and we'll give you our fancy plays. We both have Tybura. He has Jackson. I have Mariscal. We both have Barlow. We both have Gutierrez. He has Santos. I have Chandler. All right, before our fancy plays, I got to tell you about Rhythm. Football season is here, and the college football and NFL models are now live on Rhythm. Create your own winning betting model or let Rhythm do the heavy lifting for you. You decide what stats matter most to you, and Rhythm builds a custom model around that. Or just let Rhythm and its predictive model do the heavy lifting. Rhythm uses AI projections from MIT data scientists. They're pretty smart, I hear. Rhythm already has you covered for NFL Week 1 and college football Week 0. Check it all out. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpockets.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpockets.com/RITHMM. And Circus Sports is back with Circus Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Imagine the regret you'll feel if you win your Office Survivor pool but didn't enter the Circus Survivor. Don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football? Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out. You can hang with our bosses, Ryan and Sean, tell them how great this show is, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sportsbook in the world, August 22nd through the 24th. Use promo code SGP15 to save 15% on your hotel room for sign-up weekend. Sign up in person at Circus Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with a proxy. Go to proxy.footballcontests.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP. All right, locks, dogs, props, parlays, and it's Gumby's turn to kick things off with his lock.
I'm going to start with Charlampros Grigoriou. Originally, I said I was wishy-washy on that fight beforehand, but the more and more I think about it with the stuff takedowns and thinking about Kazama being knocked out a couple of times, I think he's probably the safest play here.
Yep. Now, who am I taking? Do you have it all figured out like you usually do, or not this time?
Yeah, I do work before I come on here.
I know. I meant.
Oh, do I have yours?
Figured out? Yeah.
Do I have yours? Hang on. Let me look down at my list. Yeah, I got it now.
Really? There's so many odds I don't like, though. That's the problem. I'm having trouble finding one that the odds aren't.
Yeah.
So, Carahosa minus 200.
That's it.
All right. So is that an okay play then?
Yeah, it's all right. It's the one I knew you were going with. So
yeah. Well, it's the best, best not way out of control odds, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. All right. For my underdog, I'm going with Jonta Denise, plus 185. The bombs are going to be there for Denise. I just think Carl Williams is going to have to box for at least 30 seconds, and that's going to be bad for him.
Yeah, I was going to go Denise, but I won't. I'll switch it up. I'll go with the main event. I will go with Tybura, plus 136 currently. What we get in, Matt?
I thought you were going to do that. I think I have your prop written down.
Oh, good. Yeah. Okay.
For my prop, I'm going to go Danny Barlow knockout. Yeah. I said earlier on the show how I thought Danny Barlow's hands obviously good enough to knock out Veretennikov. I think Veretennikov struggles with his style of fight in the beginning. And then on top of that, Danny Barlow's negative 350 money line goes all the way down to plus 110.
Why?
When you get his KO, I don't know, man. It's a gift.
Yeah.
It feels like free money. I could be wrong on this, always caveat. Nothing's a real lock. No. Like it's gambling. It's like in the word, but like plus 110 on that dude for a knockout with that left hand. Yeah, I'm in on that one.
That is silly. All right. Grigoriou Hosa are our locks. Denise.
You didn't make a prop pick yet.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Denise, Tybura are our dogs. Barlow knockout and Grigoriou knockout.
That's what I had for you.
Oh my God. Look at you. Plus
100. Oh, I had plus 100. But yeah, plus 107 works.
There you go.
That's nice.
So there you go. Okay. Hungry Man Jong Superfan parlay, a 2-fight parlay. We're going to hit it this week, right?
Yeah. So first one I like, I'm going to steal your dog pick here, Marcin Tybura. And I hinted at it when we broke down the main event. I think this is a grinding fight. I think both guys are going to have trouble finding a finish. Not that Tybura hasn't finished somebody in the past, but like, hey, we love sloppy fatty overs.
You're catering to our fan base here.
Yeah, this is a sloppy fatty one. What do you think Tybura on points is?
Okay, he is plus 136, maybe in the 200s, low 200s.
Plus 350.
Oh, what a steal.
Marcin Tybura by points. So I'm going to take Marcin Tybura on the cards. I'm going to pair that with Youssef Zalal's submission prop here. I mentioned on yesterday's show, I think it's kind of a mismatch there for Youssef Zalal. He's going to be fighting a kickboxer. He's already got some submission finishes in the past. There's really no reason for him not to go to the ground unless he's trying to prove something. And Zalal by submission right now is plus 285. So you're going to put those two together and you're going to get plus 1623.
There you go. Gummy's got you covered. All right. Plus 1623. Lock it in. That's it. We got this exciting event covered. We shall be in the Discord discussing it, I'm sure. sportsgamblingpockets.com/Discord. We shall be on Twitter at SGPN MMA. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer. We shall be, of course, on YouTube. Thank you if you're watching us on YouTube now. Thank you for everyone who has subscribed and who are going to subscribe now that I reminded you once again. Get in my Substack. Thank you everyone who is subscribed to my Substack, moneymma.substack.com. Free subscription will get you into my UFC Pick'em contest that I run every week, including for this exciting event here. Gummy has Top Turtle MMA podcast. He's got 3 people on it. He's jam-packed with excitement this week, including Marcin, Tybura. Do I remember who else? Yes. Bashik, who's on Contender Series. No, not Contender Series. Go ahead. You do it for me.
Kate Boswick is going to be on Invicta this Friday,
Right.
so you can catch her fight and catch that interview beforehand. And then we're talking to West Party Time Schultz.
How can I forget him?
Who's main eventing our very next episode of the MMA Gambling Podcast here, which will be breaking down Dana White's Contender Series.
All right, that's next episode. You just wait. It's the most wonderful time of the year. All right, so listen to Top Turtle. Of course, go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Gumby, kick us out of here until we meet again with Contender Series.
All right, I'm Dana Gumby Freeland. He's Bonsai Jeff Fox, and we will see you on Sunday.